Hello, everybody, and welcome to Productivity for Solopreneurs, where each week I share an insight to getting things done. And today is live number 101, and the topic is what to do or what do you do when you feel overwhelmed, don't know where to start, and don't feel like you're making progress. So let me know that you're watching by saying hi in the comments. And if you have a go-to for what you do when you're feeling that way, share that with everybody else. Let everybody else benefit from the things that work for you. Maybe somebody will find something that works for them too. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Evie Burke, and I help women entrepreneurs who want to take their productivity to a new level. And I help them do that by helping them create boundaries in their life and their business that allow them to go from feeling overwhelmed to confident and present. So you could say I'm a productivity strategist. So through my creative and impactful solutions, we focus on getting high priority areas completed so that my clients can become the high achievers that they strive to and want to be. So, like I said, today's comment is what to do when you're feeling overwhelmed and don't know where to start and feel like you're not making any progress. And that's a version of the first question I answered in last week's Q&A. So last week for my 100th live, I did a Q&A, and the first question was, I recently started my business and I'm overwhelmed by how much there is to do. Some days I have no idea where to start, and I never feel like I'm making any progress. How do I manage everything without going crazy and actually start making progress? So I've been thinking about this question off and on this week, and I wanted to go a little bit deeper into it. So to summarize just very quickly what I said last week, it was look where you can cut back on getting information. So a lot of times we are consuming lots and lots of information from lots of different places, and that can contribute to the overwhelm because we're like, oh, I need to learn this. Oh, I need to learn that. Oh, I might need to know this later, so I better learn it now so I'm prepared when I get there. And that can leave us feeling very scattered and very overwhelmed. And then the second thing was pick your lane. So decide what it is you're going to do, like what avenue you're working toward, how you're working toward, what your goals are, and do it. Just a minute, you take a drink of, oop, there's nothing in that cup. Take a drink of orange juice. So, decide what you're going to do and stick to it. So a lot of times something's not going to just start working after a month. It might take a couple of months. It might take 6 months. But you need to give things time and you need to stay in your lane. So then you're not, if you're focusing on in-person networking and this is like your strategy for how you're doing that, then you want to stick with that for a while and give it some chances to work versus going and finding all of these other places of information halfway through changing the strategy. You can tweak if you start to notice, okay, this kind of worked and this didn't, but don't pull up your entire strategy to try something new if you haven't given what you're doing enough chance to really figure out if it's working or not. Okay, so staying in your lane. So there's a little bit more in there, but those are kind of the two biggest pieces. You can go and get all of the details if you watch last week's video. So before I go into this, let me restate the question so that you have it. And let me see if there's any comments. Let's see any. So the question really is, I'm overwhelmed by how much there is to do in my business. Some days I have no idea where to start. I never feel like I'm making any progress. How do I manage everything without going crazy and start making progress? So there's lots of ways to start, and some of it depends on where you are and what you've already tried and what's already working for you and maybe what's not working for you. So because I'm not in your business, because I don't I can't speak to all of you at once through the camera and say, this piece of advice is for this person and this piece of advice is for this person. I'm just going to give you some suggestions for where you might start. And you can always reach out and we can talk about what it might look like to work with me one-on-one or join the Unnamed Productivity Club, because there's weekly opportunities to ask me questions in the Unnamed Productivity Club and to ask the group questions. So it's a really great place to be when you are feeling stuck and overwhelmed, because when you reach out, you have to reach out, because I don't read brains, I don't read minds, but you can reach out and you can get some of that help and support that you're looking for. So some places to start besides that are do a brain dump and start prioritizing. So just get everything that's floating around in your head, all those things that you need to do, those things where you're like, oh, I think I need to learn this. The phone calls where you're like, oh, I need to call that person. The decisions. This is important. Also write down the decisions you need to make or that you've been putting off so that you have them written down and you can actually decide, okay, you know what, Wednesday morning, I'm going to look into that and I'm going to make a decision about whether I'm moving forward with it or not, right? So do that. Excuse me while I take another drink. So, do that brain dump. Get everything out. Then you can start categorizing things together and you can start prioritizing. You can start looking at what really needs to be done and what can wait. You can, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here because I'm thinking that this flows in really well. But another thing you can do is create a later list. So this is that list of things that you will do later, that they're not a high priority right now, but you want to capture them for later. So if you can go through that brain dump with all those things you wrote down and pull out the things that don't need to be done now, that maybe you can focus on next quarter or later in the year, just put everything in the later list so that you have it, so it's captured and you don't have to worry about forgetting it. And make sure it's somewhere where you will know where it is. But if you add those things to your later list, then your list of things that need to get done now, it automatically gets shorter, right? And prioritizing, looking at, whatever criteria work for you, whether that's the things that need to get done in the next week and maybe the things that will start bringing income, if that's like your major goal right now, you can go through and you can just check based on those priorities. And if you have 2 priorities, then the things that have 2 check marks, those get done first. And then you can order the other things that have the 1 check mark next to them as what best works for you. So the second suggestion, second suggestion is track your time for a week. So do it in 15-minute increments, maybe 30-minute increments. Don't do it any less or any more than that. But start tracking your time, and once you have a couple of days and ideally like a week's worth of data, you can start to notice where what the patterns are, right? You can notice, oh, I'm just sitting and futzing around at 3 o'clock pretty much every week, or I am checking my email for a really long time, around this time, or I'm wasting a lot of time, or a lot of time is being spent in this activity and I didn't realize I was spending that much time there. And I might want to pull that back. You can start to notice where you are spending a lot of your time. And then when you have that information, you can decide, do I need to change it? Is there some adjustment that needs to be made? All right, so that can be super helpful. The third suggestion here is to create your ideal week. And sometimes when people say ideal week, they're like, okay, so when I have the perfect business and I'm making, 6 figures or 7 figures or whatever it is for you, like, how do I want my week to look? Well, yes, that's important to know, but I'm talking about your ideal week right now. So knowing what that looks like. So it's time blocking, and it's taking your week and the things that you do in a week and putting them into categories and then assigning those categories time in your calendar. And I don't recommend that you actually put this on the calendar that you put your appointments on, because it can make it really busy and really hard to read if you do that. But if you're using Google Calendar, then you can create a new calendar and, pop it in there, put things in there. You can print out, just a week in 15 or 30-minute increments, and you can start to block things out that way. Like, there's lots of different ways you can do it. But you can start to say, okay, what time am I coming into the office? What time do I want to leave my office or my work time, right? When am I having lunch? Excuse me. What are those non-negotiable things that need to be in my calendar? Like, if you have a kid pickup or drop off, then you can't schedule other things in that time, right? You need to leave at this time to go to the school in the afternoon or at lunch, depending on, how old your kids are, to pick them up. Or you need to get them ready and out the door. So you're not going to be able to start your time in your office before whatever time it is that you're getting them out the door or getting home from dropping them off, right? So those are self-imposed, outside imposed boundaries that you can use to your advantage when you know what those things are. And then start thinking about how much time a week am I spending, or do I want to spend working on client things, learning and improving, things in my business, networking. How much time do you want to spend marketing? And you can start to like block those things out. And a lot of times what happens when people start to do this and they're like, oh, well, I should spend, 4 hours a week networking, and I should spend 8 hours a week networking, and I should spend 4 hours a week marketing my business. So that's 16 hours if I'm doing the math correct. And then there's those admin things. So I want to spend an hour, checking my email and social media. And so now we're at, that's 5, so that's 21 hours. And, I want to write in a newsletter list or go live, and, the prep and everything for that, that's going to take, maybe 4 hours. And as you start adding all the things in, you realize that maybe there aren't enough hours in the day, which is okay. And I don't say that because to like frustrate you. It's then, okay, I need to be very strategic about how I'm using my time and what I'm planning in my time so that I can get the things done that I want to get done. Because um, once you have that knowledge of where you want to spend your time and you can decide how you want to spend your time, then you can allocate it the way that works best for you. So in the Unnamed Productivity Club, I have a whole class that's in the vault, so to speak. It's in the Facebook group that talks about exactly this. It was the topic for this month's class. So anyone that's in the Unnamed Productivity Club or anyone that's joining the Unnamed Productivity Club will have access to that training. And they also, you have access to me, for asking questions every Monday after we do the check-ins. So the exercise that I walk everybody through, or I walk the people that were on the call through in that video, I can do with you in the Q&A call. But you have to be a member of the club. So I'll include that below, and I'll talk about that more in a little bit. Let's see. 4, create a later list. We already talked about that. 5, make a list of what you need to learn right now and pick one thing to focus on. So sometimes when people are feeling, whether they're at the beginning of their business or, 10 years in, they're like, oh, I need to learn like all of these things, or I need to update this, and there's these things that I need to learn. And there's so much then, excuse me, there's so much that you want to learn that you just start taking in all of the information, right? But again, that's not helpful. So make a list of what it is you really need to learn, and then prioritize that list. What is it that I need to learn right now? And go out and learn that. And as you're learning that, you might realize, oh, I need to learn this other part too. And so then you can do that. And in some cases, you'll realize, oh, I need to maybe hire somebody to help me with SEO, or to teach me about it. I need to find a copywriter who can go through and help me with my messaging. Or I need to take a course that will help me be a better copywriter of my own material, right? There's lots of things that you can learn and you can do on your own, as well as hiring other people to do. And so if you can start making that list for what you need to learn, that can be really helpful with knowing where you want to spend your time. And then suggestion 6 here is get an accountability buddy or join a mastermind group. So accountability buddies and mastermind groups, what they do, I have a cold, so I'm going to cough again, so I'm sorry. What they do is they can really help you stay on track and keep thinking about, okay, what am I working on next? What is it that needs to get done? But not only that, they can help you celebrate. They can help you take a step back and say, look at all of what you've done, because so often in our businesses, we don't take that time for ourselves to say, I've made so much progress over the last year, over the last quarter. How cool is that? So they can be really, really great that way. So I'm just going to check no comments here. All right. So another way you can get an accountability buddy or a mastermind group type feel. So the Unnamed Productivity Club isn't a mastermind group, but you do have opportunities to use the collective brain of the group on the Monday calls after we do the check-ins. I completely lost my train of thought. So anyway, I'll talk more about the Unnamed Productivity Club in a minute. But anyway, so those were the 6 suggestions. Pick one thing that you think will make a difference for you right now and do it. After you do that one thing, then you can come back and you can pick something else if that makes sense for you. But don't try to do everything. Do one thing at a time so you can start making small tweaks to what you're doing versus trying to make huge changes all at once, which can really end up causing us causing paralysis sometimes when we try to change too much at once in our business, and can really throw things in a tizzy. So pick one and work on it. And going back to the Unnamed Productivity Club, we all have places and times in our business where we feel overwhelmed, like we're not making progress, and like things just aren't happening fast enough for us. And a lot of times that can really be helped when you have a group of people that you can come to and get support. You have somebody that's helping you create goals or walking you through that process of creating goals for the month or the quarter, because we're coming up on quarter 2, right? And if you can sit down and you can plan out, like, these are my goals for the month and here's what I'm doing and here's the goals for the quarter, and you can start to execute and make those things happen, so much more can happen in your business, right? You can make so much more progress on what's going on for yourself and for your business. And that's what we do in the Unnamed Productivity Club. So every month, one of the things that we do is I host a planning party. It's virtual. Everything in the Unnamed Productivity Club is virtual. And so we get on Zoom and I walk everybody through planning their month. So because quarter 2 is starting, I'm going to be walking everybody through planning their quarter and planning next month. It takes 90 minutes and it's just a really great way for you to recheck in with your business. Where are you and where do you want to go, right? And then we have the Monday accountability calls where you can share, okay, these are the things that I said were most important to get done last week. Here's how I did, and this is what is most important for the upcoming week. And the people that are in the club have said that those things, that combination is so helpful because it helps them stay focused. It helps them stay on track. I have one member who said because she was doing this for 9 months, she increased her revenue in her business 20%. How great is that? Because she took the time to plan and then execute on that plan. And that's what the Unnamed Productivity Club is about. And it's about making progress, not perfection. So putting things out there to try them, see if they work, and not spending, days and weeks and months trying to make them perfect. but putting them out there so you can get feedback, so you can change, tweak them and try it again, right? You can find out quickly that didn't work. Let me tweak it. Okay, that did work. Let me make it a little bit better for the next time I do it. It's the whole reason why the Unnamed Productivity Club is called the Unnamed Productivity Club, because I couldn't think of a name. And I decided, instead of spending days and weeks and months trying to come up with the perfect name, I was going to put it out there so that I could start helping people. So I could help other people who were feeling that frustration that I was having, where I knew I needed accountability and support, and I couldn't find a program that offered the things that I wanted without it costing me hundreds of dollars a month. And I didn't want to spend hundreds of dollars a month on it. So I created the Unnamed Productivity Club. But I called it unnamed, like I said, because I didn't know what to call it. So that was a placeholder name. And then it stuck because the members in the club said, we love that, because that's kind of what you're telling us to do, is just get out there, start making progress, and adjust as things go along. So it's all about making progress, not perfection. All right. I'm going to have a coughing fit. So I'm going to close that out. If you guys have any questions, leave them below. I will include the link to the Unnamed Productivity Club in the comments. I would love to welcome a few of you, or I would love to welcome you in the club if you think it's a good fit for you. Right now, it's $5 for your first 30 days, and then it's $47 a month after that. At the end of day Saturday, so Saturday, March 30th, 2019, at the end of the day, the $5 intro will go away, and it'll just be $47 to enter the club. So if you want to try it out for a month, you can do that. If you think it might be a good fit and you're not sure, just try it out. If it's not a fit, you can just email me and say, hey Evie, I don't want to stay in the club, and I'll cancel cancel your membership. No hard feelings. That's how it works sometimes. You try something out and sometimes it doesn't, it's not a good fit. But I really hope that if you're considering it, you try it, because it might be the perfect fit for you. And what would it do for your business if you had that focus and you knew what you needed to do and you started meeting those goals that you set? So that's all I have for you today. Until next week, much love. Bye-bye.